Let's face it, as we get older, our time gets shorter, we're busier, there's kids to drop off, there's jobs to do, and by the time we get to the evening, we're probably pretty tired. So when it comes to gaming, I'm always on the lookout for things that I can pick up, put down, and get maximum enjoyment for relatively short periods of time. Now, when I was a wee boy and I had a Dreamcast, one of the games that I absolutely loved was Power Stone. It was a brawler that you fought over gems to unlock big special powers and just splash damage all over the screen, and it was silly and fun and arcadey. So not so long ago I saw a game called GigaBash, and all those feelings of nostalgia and just awesomeness instantly came back. So that's what we're here to talk about today. GigaBash. It is, at its heart, one of the most simplest concepts in gaming, a beat 'em up, a mass brawler, up to 4 players where you take giant kaijus and knock the snot out of each other. And not to beat about the bush, sometimes after a hard day at work, this is exactly what you need. Not an overly complex fighter, just some good old, simple, fashioned, monster slapping fun. So these devs have been absolutely awesome, and excuse the pun, but there is an absolute monster load of data to go through. So for now, we'll go through the basic concepts of the game, some things that I love about it, maybe you'll enjoy them too, and later on maybe we'll do some character breakdowns. But let's start at the very beginning. So, it is published and developed by Passion Republic Games. This, as far as I know, is their first game together, so they are relatively new kids on the block. But judging by the look and the gameplay of this, it looks like they have got some experience in their team. So the storyline is fairly simple. There are a bunch of monsters that have been sleeping under the earth for God knows how long, and then they woke up. And it is your role to become the king of the monsters. So whoever you select, you'll be fighting off all the other monsters in existence and humanity as well. So let's talk about some gameplay and all the good things that make up this game. So the most important thing in any kind of kaiju battler is, of course, the actual kaijus themselves. And there are currently 10 of these titans in the game. So I have dug up as many of the heroes that I can. Some of them are just from screenshots, some of them are actually from reveals, so I have a bit more information for you. As I say, I'm not going to go into too much detail because we'll probably break those down in another video, but for now, here is the rundown. So the first hero that I found fighting for humanity, who isn't actually a titan, is Gigaman. From my understanding, Gigaman is back after 8 years of retirement with a few extra pounds on him. And essentially he is just a big giant man with various superpowers. And I think one of them obviously is that he can grow larger to fight the titans. And if I was to compare him to any other existing fighting character, it would be best described as Falcon's slightly overweight uncle. The next titan that I have confirmed, and this is from the titan bracket, is Rohana. And this is really showing my age, but she literally looks like the plant monsters from Simon Baker's Doctor Who. She is a big, terrifying plant deity-like creature and has the ability to tunnel under the ground. In fact, if you ever played Battle Right, for example, then she looks exactly like a female version of Thorn. And as you can imagine, being a deity titan of plants, she's got all sorts of various abilities, including like making a big club. She can summon this giant super monster, and she's got like really good mobility abilities, so she can go underground and tunnel under enemies, etc. Next character we have is a giant abominable snowman-esque creature. It looks absolutely adorable, and his name is Wooly. And his character looks like a giant snowball with a face on it, kind of like a slightly rounder version of Kate Sith. And when this game comes out, looks like a top contender of my first pick to have a go with. Being an ice-inspired titan, he's got all sorts of abilities around this, so he can turn into a snowball and bounce around the map. I've seen him also suck in enemies into the little snowball. Almost reminds me of a very hairy version of Kirby. And that, unfortunately, is the end of the easily found heroes, so I have some more for you. So you have Skorax, who is a giant snail. You have Goragang, who best described looks like Diablo's half-witted cousin. There is Thunder Toss, which is a giant mech, looked like it was stolen from one of the props of Power Rangers, and admittedly does look like he was stolen from the props of Power Rangers. The last one is a giant lobster called Pippa Duras. Now I think I've got this name wrong because I've been studying a GIF for God knows how long, and unfortunately it goes by so quickly I couldn't quite pull it out. As for the other 3 characters, they are currently unknown, so when they do get revealed, I will let you know in an update video. So what's really cool about all these heroes is they have a very distinct play style, they all look very different, and this really appeals to me as someone who was a huge fan of Battlerite before it retired. And I know there's a huge amount of people out there looking for a new arena brawler, so I'm hoping that this is going to scratch that itch. Now in terms of gameplay and combat, this is what I know so far. So there are basically melee attacks, there's heavy attacks I believe, there are special abilities on all the characters and they are unique, you know, like Wooly's being able to suck people in for example, or Rohana's tunnel ability. But one of the main takeaways I want to emphasize to people is the fact that these abilities can be used in conjunction with each other. So you can set up combos to do bigger and greater damage, which I think is really important because while it's good to have a simplistic game design in terms of fighting, it's always nice to have that territory to expand your skill set and, you know, improve later on down the line. Alongside these abilities, there's also something called Giga Energy. The more you hit on your opponent, the more you bash away on them, you charge up a Giga Bar. And once it gets full, you get to activate a special ability that turns you into an even bigger form of your previous creature. This then gives you access to more abilities and more damage and just more opportunities to defeat your opponents. Now in terms of win conditions, I think it works similarly to how Smash works. So you have a set of lives and once you have used all of them, then you're out of the game. However, unlike Smash, what makes these arenas really interesting is the ever-evolving, changing environment. So for example, on one city, halfway through the map, a volcano explodes and half of the land gets covered in lava, which if you go into, you'll take damage. And it's these kind of things that keeps the games evolving and keeps you on your toes and makes them a little bit different from your normal conventional fighter. Now I know this isn't for everyone, and I use Smash for example because they tend to like arenas that are more plain and simpler in structure because then you get to emphasize the use of skill more. But for me this has more overlapping feels with Power Stone, and I love the whole evolving map situations and it kind of keeps the games interesting, and I hope this is something that they go on to expand from. Now I've also touched on this as well, the cities are fully destructible, you can pick up various buildings and throw them at each other, there's obstacles all over around the map. I don't know what the details of the power-ups and the map objects are, maybe some of them do different damage depending on what you throw at people. I don't even know if there are opportunities for you to restore your health. I saw one video for example of Snail picking up a giant hamburger, I wasn't sure if it was just something scattered around or you can eat it for additional health. But it's another thing that adds to the madness of this giant Titan Kaiju style brawler. So I have found that there are other modes, it's not purely just about the PvP. So there is a single player mode, it's called Clash of the Titans, and it will focus on 4 unique single player campaigns and each one will tell a story about a different Titan. There's also Hall of the Alphas, which is a head-to-head duel mode. Now I don't know if this will be connected to a rank mode, it would be really cool if there was. And the last one is the mode that we've seen the most of through the trailers, which is Multiplayer Mayhem. And apparently there are party modes as well, which will include a whole variety of mini games. So it's not just about brawling, there will be other silly action that you can take part in. This, however, unfortunately, is only available in local play, which is a little bit sad because for a game like this, it's going to be all about that multiplayer, and the chances that I get 4 people over at my house to play together is probably going to be highly unlikely, or at least less likely than me finding people online. Anyway, that's all I've got time for now. I'll do some character breakdowns when I get a minute because I do find this game quite fascinating, but let me know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video as usual, do drop a subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. But for now, have a great week and I'll see you all soon for more news and reviews.